How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massive Beer Reviews, back with a little bit of new brewery time in the form of Silvaticus Brewing. Yeah, sounds about right. It's their Baron von Smoke. This be a Rauchbier. It comes courtesy of my boy Tyler. And as far as the back is concerned, on here it says, our smoked Marzen lager is crafted in the Bamberg style with a variety of traditional malts. The resulting beer is beautiful, layered, full of campfire flavor for a deeply wafting and billowing sensory experience. No date on this, and it comes in at a whopping 5.6%. Like I said, Tyler sent this off with a bunch of homebrew, a bunch of really interesting homebrew, and not that I'm not gushing about the homebrew portion of the show, but he sent off a black lager. He sent off a Rauchbier. I'm kind of excited about this stuff, so we'll see how this sucker does. It's probably a bit above temperature, or where I'd like it to be. It's probably closer to like 55. I'd prefer this to be closer to 48. I'm not quite sure what they would classify as their perfect temperature, but label-wise, classy. Classy AF as far as labeling goes. I dig it. Get an extra little skull at the bottom there, and that's how you know it's good. So, science. So, we'll see how that works. As far as the beer goes, I mean, it looks the part of, like, you know, Marzen, even towards Vienna lager, like a little bit of darker lager, not getting into your Bock range, not at your kind of base lager, kind of Pilsner malt range, but it has this darkness to it. Super crumbly head on it, giving way to a pretty uniform kind of khaki coloredness to it, and that soft kind of amber, slightly brown tinged kind of look to it. The nose knows when it comes to Rauchbier, so we'll see how this goes. Bologna. Yeah, it's got that nice, rich, meat smoked level of Rauchbier, so it's giving you those kind of kielbasi vibes, those kind of bologna vibes. This fatty, rich, smoked woody vibes. By fatty rich, I mean like it really does come off as like a smoked Polish kind of meat for me. Very much the bologna and kind of kielbasi that I was talking about. But you're talking about 5.6% to get this level of richness, this level of smoke on something of that lower ABV. I'm kind of curious to see how it kind of comes off in the taste. But it's rich, it's big, it's bold. It's got my meat sweats on. Let's put it that way. Just dive in. Cheers. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I am the biggest fan of Rauchbier in the history of mankind. I actually have a bit of a kind of sordid past with Rauchbier. But I will admit that over the years, I've definitely become more of a fan because I just like the impact at the ABV level. I don't want to make it that simple because I think there's much more to it than just impact. And I'm not gonna, I'm not letting anybody in on any covert level secrets here. I like me some sausage. I like me kielbasi. I grew up in a lot of Polish neighborhoods, from pierogi to kielbasi to all kinds of schnitzels and German meats and all that kind of stuff. That it really does kind of give me flavors that I enjoy, but I've never been a big proponent of that in beer. And when I really do kind of go gaga for smoked beers, it's usually with a bit more of a subtle hand. Once you get into those heavy hitters, the darker versions of your Ankler, Schleckler beers, I mean, they're Mars and stuff like that. It's just kind of kisses of smoke, like dollops of smoke that kind of make me really kind of, flutter. Get really happy with it. Here you're getting a little bit more of a robust take on that, but you're not getting as deep as they would typically get in their kind of Doppelbock or their kind of OG kind of Marzen smoked. Rauchbier. So you're getting this big fatty smoke component. I say fatty because it does remind me of those kind of fatty meats. But there's more to it than that. There's this sweet kind of cherry wood kind of characteristic to it. There's this nice kind of sweet, kind of slightly toasted malt characteristic to it. It has this cleanliness and this cleanness, this kind of drinkability that only lager can bring. And when you think about it in combination with the way the kind of smoke comes off and how heavy and flabby the beer is, that's what I think of when I think of fatty meats. I think of flabbiness, and it kind of comes off in the beer this way. It just ends up being kind of like a weird kind of oxymoron of a beer, in that it is heavy and smoky and rich, but it's infinitely drinkable. From a brewery I've never had anything before in my life, I think this is a really great beer. I mean, the impact smoke here, the drinkability of the beer here, everything about it just kind of sings in a very beautiful way, to where it's like you're talking about a very complex level of application that works out infinitely beautifully. I love it. I love it. I think it's fantastic, and I honestly think it's one of the better smoked Rauchbiers I've had in quite some time. It's that good. No joke. Because even when you talk about, Rauchbier, smoke beer, in a kind of USA-based, United States-based kind of craft beer scene, it's usually a very neutered version of this. This is taking that Ankler Schleckler kind of mindset and not just equaling it, but elevating it in a different fashion. I'm not saying it's a bigger smoke characteristic or it's that much more different. It is, but it's a tweak on a style that not a lot of people lean heavily into. And to see a brewery not just lean heavily into this, but do it at an ABV level that is drinkable and approachable, I think is pretty fucking delicious. Is this one of the better Rauchbiers I've had? It's like, yes, Mount Rushmore status. Easily. Value and availability, no idea. Yeah, Tyler, let us know what's what. And leave you with, if you like what we like this beer. If you like Rauchbier, plain and simple, end of sentence, period, done and done. Because that's what this beer is, through and through, at its core, at its soul. It's Rauchbier, and if you like traditional baloney smoked beer, this will do you. So there you go, another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there, if you want to talk about it, Massive Beers. If you want to check me out doing the social media stuff, Beer Massive. You want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing, and hopefully you guys enjoyed our review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of smoked beer right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.